Women are hardwired to choose certain things in men, and they will make a hard pass on you if you do any of these 10 different things. So just like convicts who chose a guy to mug, one of the worst things you can do is to have bad body language, rounded shoulders, your head sunken into those shoulders, taking up as little space as possible, not walking with your spine erect, but instead walking with a hunched back, looking down at the ground, basically looking defeated.
The Unapologetic Man Podcast.
In a recent study, a bunch of convicts were asked to pick a victim from watching video of a bunch of people walking by. They asked 1,000 different convicts who they would choose to victimize, who they would choose to rob, who would they choose to mug out of a bunch of different people walking by. And get this, boys, 89% of the convicts chose the same people. Why is that? Well, it's pretty obvious when looking at the mind of a convict, right? If you were a convict and you wanted to rob somebody, what would you look for? You would obviously look for weak body language. Somebody who looks like they have money. Somebody who looks like they can't defend themselves. Somebody who basically looks like a pussy. That's how they choose victims, and it's the same thing with women. Women are hardwired to choose certain things in men, and they will make a hard pass on you if you do any of these 10 different things. So just like convicts who chose a guy to mug, one of the worst things you can do is to have bad body language, rounded shoulders, your head sunken into those shoulders, taking up as little space as possible, not walking with your spine erect, but instead walking with a hunched back, looking down at the ground, basically looking defeated. Convicts will target you because somebody who doesn't look confident probably isn't going to fight for what is theirs. Whereas a guy who has his head held up high, who has an erect spine, who has his shoulders back, and who's walking with confidence is less likely to be mugged. Coincidentally, women are attracted to the exact same thing. A guy who has rounded shoulders, who's staring at the ground while he walks, or when he's in a booth, he stuffs himself in the smallest space possible so as not to rock the boat. This is unattractive to women because women are attracted to confidence. On that note, guys who make fast movements are unattractive to women. Let me explain why. A guy who's moving quickly basically subcommunicates that he's terrified of his environment. He's looking around real fast. His eyes are darting around the room. It shows that he's scared and he doesn't have self-confidence to deal with whatever might pop off. And I believe this too is what convicts look for. If you walk through some like ghetto ass neighborhood that you're not familiar with, you're going to be just as scared as if you were walking through like a dark forest. You're going to be looking around, your pupils are going to be dilated, your eyes are going to be darting everywhere, and people who are convicts are going to be targeting you because you look afraid. The best thing you can do in an uncomfortable environment is to look comfortable in that environment. So let's say you have to pull off the road and go to some seedy ass gas station, and there's a bunch of drug addicts around, a bunch of guys who look like they would mug you without a moment's hesitation. Man, you better stand tall. You better be having slow movements, not look scared. And if you're packing, have that shit on you. Because here's another study, and I don't necessarily recommend conceal carry, although I used to do it. But interestingly enough, 93% of the time when somebody's mugged and they produce a firearm, the assailant runs away and they don't get mugged. So whether you choose to carry a gun or not, that's obviously up to you. But at the minimum, boys, at least work on yourself, be confident, walk as if you can carry yourself, and walk as if you will fight. So sunken shoulders, rounded back, head sunken down, looking at the ground, eyes darting everywhere, basically telegraphs fear and is attractive to convicts, but is unattractive to women. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. To watch the full podcast episode, click here. And before you go, if you're feeling extra generous, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. I'd sincerely appreciate it. Unapologetic Army.